Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to another insightful presentation on digital solutions for knowledge management. Allow me to start by saying that technology has revolutionized the way we do things, both at the individual and organizational levels. And what are the things that we do which have been changed by technology? One is the way we communicate. That today we no longer communicate through pen and paper, we use technologies. Two, the way we relate with one another. We have moved away from the traditional physical relationships to more technologically based relationships. Three, the way we work. That today we no longer use books or physical records in order to perform tasks. Today we use more technology. Three or four, the way we make decisions. Our decisions are largely based on data today. Unlike before, where our data was manual and very slow to access or use information. Again, today we think and process information through technology. And therefore, technology has become a central tool that shapes the way we do our work, behave, and relate with others. Part of this technology is the adoption of digital solutions for managing knowledge. So digital solutions are part of the technology that we have been using over the last 3 or 4 decades since the advent of computers. Through these digital solutions, we are able to make decisions which are data-based and also improve processes, systems, and programs. By digital solutions, there is an implication that there are problems which require solutions. From a HR perspective, there are a number of problems that can be solved through these digital solutions. One is poor onboarding, that sometimes we take long to bring people on board and for them to work at the desired level. Secondly, is poor recruitment and selection. That sometimes we end up with the wrong people on the jobs because we rely on manual systems which cannot be easily referenced because it takes longer. Three, in training and development, we may find it difficult to share or upgrade skills and knowledge of our employees because we do not have the right tools for them to learn. Another problem area is performance management, where we develop objectives, create targets, and monitor progress using manual methods or systems. This takes a long time and therefore does not give us the results that we are looking for as individual managers or as organizations. Therefore, digital solutions have come into existence, particularly knowledge management, for purposes of solving some of the problems that I have mentioned. The objective of this module is to ensure that we have developed adequate systems, processes, and procedures to achieve the objectives of our departments as HR managers, and by extension, organizational objectives. So today, the objective of digital solutions are three. One is to evaluate HR technologies for effective knowledge management application. I have highlighted effective KM application because this is where the rubber meets the road. That we may have the best knowledge management systems or data, but if we cannot use this data, then it may not be useful to us. So knowledge management application relates to the utilization of our knowledge resources to achieve organizational objectives or make decisions. And when we talk of effective, it has to do with results. That we want to achieve maximum results by using the knowledge resources that we have. And what are these results? One is customer service, that our customers must be happy with what we are offering them. Two is revenue generation, that through the use of knowledge resources, we are able to generate money for the organization, which it can use to invest in other areas. Three, another aspect of effectiveness is to ensure that our employees are able to produce or provide services. And it is for this reason that we are talking about digital solutions that help us to effectively use or apply the knowledge resources. Secondly, is the use of AI and analytics to enhance knowledge utilization. Knowledge utilization has to do with how we use our knowledge to produce results. Similar to what we have said in knowledge application, that we can apply knowledge in many fields like human resource management, in marketing, in finance, and in production. And in utilization, we are talking about one, innovation, that through knowledge, we are able to innovate or develop new ideas, new systems, or new processes. And that can be aided by artificial intelligence and analytics. Artificial intelligence are softwares that mimic or imitate human intelligence or reasoning. And analytics has to do with the development of measurements or metrics that can enable us to determine the success of our organizations. So as we move through this program, we are going to see how artificial intelligence like ChatGPT can be used to enhance knowledge utilization. And lastly, we are going to look at how we can develop automated systems for workplace efficiency. Through the use of digital solutions, we automate. That means that we convert manual processes into technological processes, utilization of resources. These resources can either be tangible or intangible. An intangible resource is like time. That when we use time efficiently, it means that we are not overspending time on one activity. Other tangible resources include money, computers or machines, as well as employees. So we are going to achieve efficiency by reducing the amount of resources that we use to produce goods and services. So through digital solutions, we are able to be efficient. That is, reduction of the cost of production in terms of time, money, tools, and human resources. So those are the three objectives that we are going to achieve by the end of this program. I want to move to the next part, that is the introduction to our program. And I have indicated there that we operate in a digital era. And in this digital era, we are able to capture, store, share, and utilize knowledge. Capturing means recording or coding knowledge. Storage means saving. And sharing is open exchange of knowledge. We exchange knowledge. And utilization has to do with using the knowledge resources. Success. Organizational success can be looked at in terms of achievement of organizational objectives and strategies. And therefore, a successful organization is one that generates revenue, is one that generates or makes profit, is one that satisfies its customers, and is one that is competitive in the market. And therefore, through these digital solutions, we are able to make our organizations successful. Secondly, digital solutions are able to streamline workflows, promote collaboration, and preserve organizational or institutional memory. What do we mean by streamlining workflows? It means simplifying or improving processes. In HR, we are talking about processes like recruitment and selection. 2, performance management and appraisal. 3, training and development, among others. So when we use these digital solutions, we are able to improve or simplify those processes so that we reduce the time spent and the amount of money used in these processes. When we talk of collaboration, this has to do with working together with others. As HR managers, we work together with others within our departments. These are HR officers in the HR department. We also work with others outside the department, like finance. For example, we may prepare payrolls, depending on your organization arrangements, and then present this payroll to finance for payment. So we have to work together. We can also work together with other departments, like ICT. In many organizations, ICT is where knowledge management is domiciled. So we have to work closely with the ICT in order for us to capture, store, and share knowledge resources. Preservation of institutional memory has to do with keeping the knowledge resources so that we don't lose it. We can keep knowledge in 3 ways. I can reduce them to 2. 1, through documentation, and 2, through retention of our key personnel with the knowledge that we have. So through the digital solutions, which I will mention in a little while, we are going to preserve or maintain organizational memory. That is the skills, the knowledge, the experiences, policies, procedures, so that we don't lose them. And lastly, through digital solutions, we are likely to drive innovation. Innovation relates to development of new products, new processes, and new systems for purposes of being competitive in the market. That without technology, we may not be able to collect information or data that we can use to develop those new products or systems. And lastly, we are going to explore key digital solutions that enhance knowledge management. We will mention some of these solutions, like document management systems, which are softwares that enable us to capture, store, share, and use knowledge. And lastly, that through these digital solutions, we are able to achieve strategic and operational goals. What do we mean by strategic? These are long-term and organization-wide strategies that we intend to achieve so as to be competitive. It also relates to the way we do things in our organizations to serve our customers better, improve our systems and processes, and also enhance productivity. So strategic has to do with 1, long-term attainment of goals, 2, being competitive, and 3, serving our customers better. For organizational or other operational goals, we are talking about the day-to-day activities that we perform. As HR managers, there are several operational activities that we perform related to employee records, training, performance appraisals, recruitment, and others. And these operational activities can be achieved or performed through utilization of digital tools. So in a nutshell, we are saying that digital solutions are softwares which enable us to capture, store, and share knowledge to achieve organizational goals and objectives. Moving forward, we want to have an overview of digital solutions. So what do we mean by digital knowledge management solutions? I have indicated there that these are softwares. These are programs that are embedded in our computers that help us to capture, organize, and share knowledge. The emphasis here is software. And there are quite a number of softwares, as I will discuss, that will help us to capture. To capture means to record or code the knowledge that we have around us. Then organizing means ordering. That when knowledge is not organized, then it becomes very difficult for anyone to access it. We need to organize this in terms of categories and files so that it is easier for us to access and retrieve the knowledge resources. And lastly, on that first point, that this software enable us to share knowledge. There are quite a number of softwares around us that we use to share knowledge, which I will discuss. So digital solutions help us to share that knowledge. Remember, I said that there are many problems that are associated with the human resource management, one of which is poor sharing of knowledge, especially when people work in silos. That when people work independently without sharing knowledge, it means that they are working in silos. There is no knowledge flow within or outside the department. This compartmentalization of knowledge becomes difficult because there is no sharing of knowledge. However, with the use of digital solutions, we are able to share this knowledge. How? It is by having centralized systems, for example, ERPs or LMS, which is learning management systems. That through these centralized repositories, people are able to share knowledge within or outside departments. What is the purpose of these digital solutions? Is to streamline processes, to ensure consistency, access, use, and reuse of knowledge assets. I said that streamlining means 2 or 3 things. 1, to simplify. 2, to improve. And 3, to make scalable, streamline, make it seamless. So by improving or simplifying processes, it becomes easier for HR managers to deliver on their mandate. And when we streamline these processes, we ensure consistency. Through consistency, we become predictable. And the predictability comes with reliability. That if our knowledge assets are stored in a central position, there is consistency. That means that anybody, anywhere can access the same information today, tomorrow, and forever, unless that knowledge is changed. The other aspect is access. That when we streamline our knowledge management solutions, we make it easier for people to access. By accessing, we mean that people are able to obtain information or data. And this access must be easy and convenient. When the systems are very hard to access or obtain information, then there is a cost implication, especially the cost of time. And through digital solutions, we are able to make accessibility to the knowledge systems easier and cost-effective. On the issue of use, I've mentioned it before, this has to do with utilization of knowledge. How do we use knowledge? We can use knowledge to make decisions. We can use knowledge to innovate. We can use knowledge to persuade others. And we can use knowledge to formulate strategies and policies. So through these digital solutions, we are able to use that knowledge in the ways I've mentioned. And lastly, we can reuse. Reusing means utilizing knowledge again and again. Through these knowledge solutions, digital knowledge management solutions, we are able to use knowledge assets many times. For example, when we store policies and standard operating procedures in digital form, we are able to use them many times. Policies don't change very often, and therefore we can use them many times. The same goes with standard operating procedures. Those are SOPs. And again, we can use SOPs many times. On scope, we are talking about to who or where do digital solutions apply? They apply in many ways and at all times. One is learning. That through digital solutions, we learn new knowledge, or we share our skills and knowledge to create knowledge in others. So learning is acquisition of skills, knowledge, and abilities through digital solutions. For example, learning management system is one of the digital solutions that enable people to learn depending on their area of interest. That in the LMS system, we can have materials for finance officers, for HR officers, for ICT, and even production for those of us who are in manufacturing. So these are learning resources where people can learn and retrieve learning materials. It also applies to collaboration. Collaboration, as I have indicated, has to do with working with others within or outside the organization. So digital solutions enable people to work together, either as communities or as teams, both the physical and the virtual teams. On storage, that digital tools enable us to store our knowledge resources. For example, DMS, Document Management System, enables organizations and individuals to store various documents like policies, strategies, SOPs, and learning materials. And lastly, it also applies to performance management, where we are using technologies, for example, Microsoft 365 to support performance management, that we are able to track performance from the time we set our targets to the time we review our final performance and make reports based on that data. So digital solutions like Microsoft 365 helps us to manage performance in an efficient and effective ways. Then the other question is, who are the users of these digital solutions? Virtually everybody uses digital solutions in a modern organization. And this include HR teams. These are people within the HR department, employees outside the HR department. Our managers and leaders also use this, particularly in strategic reviews and even strategy formulation. And we also have knowledge workers. Who are these knowledge workers? These are people who are experts in their areas of specialization, who require knowledge to perform their duties on a daily basis. I can give a few examples. One, engineers. These are specialists in various fields of engineering. For example, electrical engineering, mechanical engineers, as well as construction engineers. All these engineers require particular types of knowledge for them to perform their work effectively. The other group of knowledge workers is doctors. Doctors require particular knowledge related to the field of medicine. And again, depending on the type of medicine that somebody is specializing, it could be neurosurgery, it could be general physician, or it could be a cardiologist. They require specific knowledge related to that field. At the organizational level, we have software engineers who develop softwares for us. And these are the softwares that we are talking about under digital solutions. Another group within an organization that is a knowledge worker is AI generators. That through AI, we are able to mimic human intelligence and use that intelligence to capture, organize, and share knowledge. HR managers also have their own set of knowledge that they require for their day-to-day operations. So we need knowledge related to human resource planning, recruitment and selection, training and development, performance management, among others, so that we are able to achieve our departmental objectives as well as organizational strategies. And lastly, digital solutions should be integrated with other systems within our organizations. There are quite a number of other systems that we use. Human resource information system is one of them, where we allow people to access knowledge related to leave applications, performance reviews, as well as training and development. ERP, which means enterprise resource planning, is wider. HRIS can be part of this, is wider or broad, where finance, ICT, human resource, and other departments can log into to perform their functions effectively. As I will mention in a few, that there are, ERP is one of the softwares which is a digital solution developed by SAP. SAP is a company in Germany, acronymed as Systems. And products which are embedded in organizations that help them to perform their functions effectively. So we can talk of SAP ERP. SAP is the company, ERP is the software. So ERP is the digital solution that we use as HR managers and other departments to perform our functions. What are the key aspects of being digital? We have given an introduction that digital solutions are softwares. So what is it to be digital? One is about utilization of digital tools. And these tools are devices like smartphones, applications, or cloud software, which we use on a daily basis to capture, store, and share knowledge. All of us use these tools. For example, our smartphones, which are telephones, are used to communicate within or outside the organization. Applications, which are softwares, like AI, we use AIs like Gemini or DeepSeek or ChatGPT to conduct research by way of collecting data or information. So again, being digital at the individual or organizational level, we use cloud computing, where we are storing our data and information outside the organization in another organization. For example, Google Drive is an example of cloud storage. And this is for purposes of ensuring our data is safe and that there is no unauthorized access. So to be digital means that you are able to use smartphones applications and store your data out there in a cloud, such as Google Drive. Secondly, is digital data. Digital data digital data has to do with stored information or processed data. And here we are saying that there is a lot of data that is stored in our systems. Data that we can use to make decisions or develop new systems and processes. So any data that is stored either on our telephones or our computer systems is digital. Because we have said digital has to do with the software, such as Word documents. Or Microsoft Access and other softwares that we use to perform our functions. The other aspect of being digital is digital communication. That today we send messages, we use videos and collaboration platforms to capture, share, and store knowledge. Online messaging online messaging has to do with sending messages within and outside the organization in order to, one, inform others of what is going on, two, learn from others, and three, share our experiences. The same goes with the video calls. One of the examples of a video call is Zoom meeting, like the one we are having, where you can see people physically and talking through a telephone line. So for one to be said to be digital, he or she is able to use either computers or telephones to send messages, make video calls, or work with others across departments. Being digital also means digital transformation. That means shifting from manual to automated systems. That traditionally we used to have manual systems like typewriters, which were fairly manual, to record or capture knowledge by way of typing, or recording on books, various processes or activities. For example, if we want to automate people reporting to the organization, that is attendance, we can use digital tools like computers, where people log in using biometrics. So instead of using manual books at the gate, we can use biometrics, which helps us to automate attendance. Why? Because it's difficult for anyone to go through a voluminous record of manual records where people are attending work and what time they left. But through software, which are digital solutions, we are able to capture attendance in real time, that there is no waiting time. We can monitor attendance in real time. The other aspect of being digital is provision of digital services. such as e-learning, where people can log into portals and learn lessons based on digital solutions. Traditionally, e-learning was in the form of long-distance learning. But today we talk of e-learning because it is electronic, meaning that people use computerized systems to access learning resources. On e-banking, we are talking about making transactions by use of mobile or computer systems. For example, in Kenya today, we use M-Pesa as a digital solution to banking problems. That instead of people traveling long distances to look for banks, today we can transact using M-Pesa. Or if not M-Pesa, we can access our bank accounts using our mobile telephones that you simply download your bank software like Equitel, and you are able to transact. And the transacting means you can check your balances, you can send money to other people, or even deposit money from another account. So this is a digital service that is being offered through applications, which are softwares. Telemedicine, this has to do with the long distance medical services, where doctors do not necessarily have to be present physically for them to offer their services. So today we use softwares or technologies that are able to access medical services either through chatbots or through teleconferencing. So chatbots is where we are chatting like WhatsApp. We chat with doctors over long distances. So the same applies even in our organizations, that we can chat with our managers over long distances by use of these digital tools. That even when you are not in the office, there are those office assistants which are AI powered that can tell or can assist anybody seeking services in our organizations. So they simply send a text and that AI system is able to respond or assist them to access information or data that they are looking for. The other aspect of being digital is having a digital mindset. That today being digital is more than the use of computers. It's about being open to innovation, which means that we are able to welcome new knowledge, new systems, new processes, and new products without necessarily using computers. It's a mindset. Secondly, it's about speed. That today's speed counts. The speed of serving our customers, the speed of accessing information and data, the speed of making decisions. All this must be integrated in our mind. That if we delay, for example, serving our customers, we run the risk of losing them. So time is of essence, and through these digital solutions, we are able to serve our customers fast. Another aspect related to digital mindset is agility. that we are able to improve, expand, or change our minds through the use of these new technologies. That today we cannot afford to be static. Why? Because the environment in which we operate is very dynamic. And therefore, we need to develop a mindset that is able to adapt quickly to these changes. And lastly, a digital mindset involves continuous change, that we change the way we do things. We change the way we reason. We also change the way we make decisions. So continuous change is a mindset. Unlike before, where people were rigid because they believed that what worked before is the best. But today, whatever worked before may not work today. For example, in the new technological age, we cannot depend on manual systems, though they used to work. Today, we cannot use those manual systems because they are slow and very difficult to access the knowledge contained in them. And lastly, and this is what the government is now emphasizing, the digital economy, where digital activities are driven by digital platforms and data flows. What are the examples of economic activities that depend on digital solutions? One is e-commerce. That means transacting business between customers and organizations, or organizations and organizations, where they can exchange goods and services online. So that is e-commerce, transacting business online. Another economic activity is e-banking, which I've mentioned, using either computer or mobile technologies to make financial transactions. And the digital economies also are innovative, where people use digital solutions such as ERPs to make decisions or innovate. So in a digital economy like Kenya, we are using computer and mobile systems to transact business or innovate or solve problems in our communities or in our nation. For example, the meteorological department, through the use of their digital platforms, they are able to monitor weather patterns and advise farmers or Kenyans in general on the likelihood of rainfalls in particular areas so that they can prepare themselves adequately. Particularly farmers, whether it's planting season or harvesting season, they are able to be informed of the rain patterns. So in a digital economy, we are able to transact businesses both locally and internationally so that we are able to make decisions, improve systems and processes. So I want to invite us to ask any questions based on what I have discussed, starting with what are the digital solutions and key aspects of being digital. Anybody with a question or a comment, please, the floor is yours. Lillian, if you are there, you can ask a question or make a comment.
No question for me, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lillian. And therefore, I suggest that we move to the next slide. That is the dimensions of being digital. This is different from what I have mentioned, key aspects that you can be digital in terms of use of tools, data, communication, mindset, or economy. Now we are talking about dimensions that we have to shift our mind by way of embracing new technologies like smartphones, softwares, and data. So by embracing new digital solutions, we are able to change. By change, we mean moving from the old way of doing things to a new and better way of doing them. Innovation has to do with creating new systems, processes, and products. So we have to be innovative by using these digital solutions. And lastly is continuous learning, that when we have centralized databases using these digital solutions like ERPs, we are able to continuously learn. That learning does not stop the moment we step outside the offices. It continues even to our homes or wherever else we are. So one needs only to log into the system and get materials, and that enhances continuous learning. Secondly, we are talking about integrating technology into our systems. I have mentioned aspects like cloud computing, AI, and analytics, where cloud computing has to do with storage of data or knowledge resources. AI are softwares that mimic human intelligence, like ChatGPT. Today we use it a lot. Microsoft applications, such as MS Word or Excel. So we integrate these technologies, for example, into an ERP system, where cloud computing, Moodle applications, and analytics are centralized in an ERP, enterprise resource planning, so that we don't have these digital solutions separately. They should be integrated to make it easier for people to access whatever knowledge materials they are looking for. Thirdly is data-driven decisions. That today we make decisions based on data. This data can be stored in our knowledge repositories like document management systems, or can be real-time. Real-time is where we are capturing or storing data as the activities are taking place. There's no waiting time. So we make decisions based on real-time data. The other aspect or dimension is being customer-centric, that we should be focusing on our customers in terms of, one, the products that we offer, two, their satisfaction, and three, their experiences. Talking of customer experience, this has to do with what customers think, feel, or see about the organization. And this experience must be enjoyable. That we want to create enjoyable experiences when customers come into contact with our organizations. And they can come into contact through these digital solutions. For example, your websites. They should provide easy access to your products and services. That at the click of a button, a customer is able to access the product that they are looking for, which means that there should be not so many hyperlinks for a person to access what they are looking for. They should be easy to access and retrieve information about our organizations. The experience also comes with the time they spend using our systems. For example, we are using an ERP system where people are accessing their leave days or applications, or they want to look at their performance management results. The experience should be that it's easy to access this information. Otherwise, if it is difficult to access, then it becomes time wasting and discouraging to anybody who wants to get into our system. So being customer-centric, it means that we focus mainly on our customers, particularly their experience, because experience is what can make a customer use our system again and again, use our products again and again, or make references or refer others to us. The other dimension is automation and efficiency, that some of the activities that we mentioned must be automated. And that is why we said earlier on, under dimensions, digital transformation, shift from manual to automated. That automation has to do with conversion of manual activities into digital activities. And that helps us to streamline workflows. And as I said, streamlining has to do with simplifying or improving activities. And we use these chatbots or what they call dashboards as well, which enables people to send or share information in real time. The second last aspect or dimension is collaboration and connectivity. Collaboration has to do with working with others within or outside our departments, and the connectivity is the linkages or the networks that we create using these digital solutions. We mentioned some of the we will mention some of the digital solutions like smartphones, which helps us to collaborate, that is work with, or to connect with others. Lastly is the aspect of personalization and flexibility. By personalization, we mean we tailor-make products or services to suit individual or departmental needs. At the individual level, for example, we can personalize training using learning management system as a digital solution. For example, a person who wants to learn about cybersecurity will have an LMS system which has cybersecurity materials, which that person can access and retrieve information. So that program called cybersecurity is tailor-made for that individual, particularly in the ICT department, so that our systems are safe from hacking or unauthorized access. So personalization has to do with customizing our services or products to suit individual employee needs or customer needs. In relation to flexibility, this is again related to change, which I mentioned earlier, that we have to adapt to change very fast. Digital tools and solutions enable organizations to adapt to changes in a flexible manner. How does this happen? That through these digital solutions like mobile technology, we are able to monitor what is happening around us and collect data that is used for current decision making. So through data collection, using digital tools, we are able to capture data in real time and also adapt to the changes that I have talked about. There are many changes that are taking place around us. One, policy changes. Two, strategy changes. Three, cultural changes. And four, product changes. That through the use of these digital solutions, we are able to monitor these changes and make decisions quickly. And this is the beauty of adopting the digital solutions. And those are the 6 or 7 dimensions of being digital. Now, going to the digital solutions, remember our topic is digital solutions for knowledge management. Digital solutions for knowledge management. What are these solutions? One is document management system. And almost all our organizations has this document management system, which is embedded in our ERP. If not ERP, we have HRIS, known as Human Resource Information System, where we keep these documents. And how does this document management system help us? One, organize, that is creating order in our system or in our documents. So in our human resource information system, we organize files either in the form of categories or titles of files. For example, learning and development. Everything under learning and development is put in this folder. So if you want to access learning materials, you can get into this LMS. Or if you want to get the people who have been trained, you go into the learning and development system or solution. Or the programs on offer, we go to L&D. And we have other files like performance management, leave management, or recruitment and selection. Everything under those titles are organized in those headlines. Secondly, a document management system helps us to store. Storing is keeping or documenting data or knowledge. We store data using these digital solutions, whether it is in our computers or our mobiles. And we also retrieve this information, that is getting this information at the right time so that we can use them. We access digital documents, and the digital documents include policies, manuals, and reports, which are stored in these document management systems. An example is one that I've mentioned, which is Human Resource Information System, or ERP. ERP is a central repository where everybody can log in to organize, store, retrieve, and access information. Secondly, is knowledge repositories, where databases are stored in one central position or place. And I've mentioned an example is ERP, Enterprise Resource Plan. Through these centralized repositories, people are able to access these knowledge resources. Thirdly is enterprise social networks. For purposes of collaboration, we have, for example, Microsoft Teams as a digital solution which enables people to collaborate. It's a social network where people can have a conversation within or outside the organization, so that we don't limit knowledge sharing. Collaborative platforms, especially for virtual teams, we are able to support each other by sharing information in real time. So collaboration platforms are real-time where people are able to document, share, and store data or information in real time. I have mentioned something about learning management systems. This is within learning and development department or subsection, where we are using a system to enable people to learn new information or knowledge related to their area of interest. So in the learning management system, there are learning materials, there are modules, and there are tests. that can be used to measure whether or not people have acquired the skills and knowledge required. So a learning management system helps us to deliver the training program, monitor by way of providing analytics or measurements on the number of people who have completed certain modules, and lastly, manage employee learning. By managing employee learning has to do with the planning, implementing, and reviewing training. So through a learning management system, we are able to deliver training programs, monitor their effectiveness, and also manage on a continuous basis so that we don't deviate. The other digital solution is artificial intelligence and machine learning. As I have indicated, artificial intelligence is a software that mimics or imitates human intelligence, that it has the features of a normal human being who is able to reason. There are a number of these AIs that most of us have come across, one of which is DeepSeek. This is a Chinese AI developed late last year, which has changed the way we capture, store, and share knowledge. They argued that DeepSeek is a reasoning artificial intelligence software, that it gives you reasons why it is giving you the answer. And from a HR perspective, we are able to rationalize our decisions by use of this AI called DeepSeek. So that by use of this DeepSeek or artificial intelligence, we are able to automate knowledge search, looking for knowledge. So we can query the AI and it gives us the knowledge that we are looking for. Tagging has to do with connecting or prompting others on what is going on. That through AI, we are able to tag others or prompt them or direct their attention to what is happening. For example, in Facebook, if you give or provide tags, it means that whatever you are posting, others are able to get it in real time, or as when they access their Facebook accounts. And again, in artificial intelligence, which is a digital solution, is able to make recommendations. What we only need to do is to give commands that give me a solution to this problem, and it gives us the recommendations. Predictive decision support is another aspect related to artificial intelligence or benefit, that through artificial intelligence, we are able to identify trends. Trends are changes over time. And by use of algorithms, which is a mathematical system embedded in artificial intelligence, we are able to predict the future outcomes of what we are doing. For machine learning, this is where our systems are able to connect with others generate knowledge, and share that knowledge within our network. So in machine learning, our systems are able to connect. For example, your computer is connected to another system in finance, and we are able to retrieve information in the finance department because the machine we are using is able to identify relevant information in another department. So this integration between artificial intelligence and machine learning has enabled HR managers and other people within the organization to capture, share, and store knowledge resources. Lastly is content management system. Compared to document, content is about generation of content. For example, TikTok is one of the tools that we use today to create content. That through this content management system, we are able to create, manage, or publish digital content. For example, a mobile technology, we are able to record a video. This video can be posted to our systems, like learning management system, and thereby creating content. So in learning management system, we can create videos through a content management system. We can create a video on a process, for example, production plant, where we demonstrate how a product is produced from beginning to end. So we can create content of our process through the use of content system, for example, using videos. We can also publish content using these content management systems for internal knowledge access. Before we move to the digital management programs or platforms, maybe I can ask a question, or anybody can ask a question related to the digital solutions that we have discussed. Anybody with a question or a comment to make so that we can move to the platforms? From my end, I can see Lillian only. Lillian, if you are there. Okay. Let us now move to the next part, that is platforms. These are spaces that we use to create, store, share, and access knowledge assets. There are many. I've mentioned 6. One is the intranet. These are local area networks where employees within an organization are connected to share knowledge resources. So within an organization, people can share knowledge within or across departments. And they can share documents like forms, templates, or policies. Secondly, we have a document management system, which I've already talked about. And this is a system that is used to organize, store, and retrieve knowledge assets in an efficient and effective manner. collaboration tools, I mentioned earlier of Teams and Slack. These are tools that enable people to discuss issues in real time. I believe some of us are using Microsoft Teams to make discussions in their own organizations. The other platform is cloud storage. And one of the examples I've mentioned before is Google Drive. And this Google Drive provides a secure storage system, which is also scalable. By scalable, I mean that it is able to expand to meet changing or increasing demand. Changing or increasing demand or usage. That when we store our data in these cloud systems, we are able to change or improve them or increase their capacity with time. Because the needs of an organization changes, some knowledge becomes obsolete, some new knowledge comes into existence, and therefore cloud storage enables us to expand our storage system as and when need arises. The other platform is e-learning, where people are able to acquire skills and knowledge through online systems. One of the traditional programs that maybe all of us might have interacted with is MIS as a tool for e-learning, management information system. That through MIS, people were able to learn new skills and knowledge related to their fields over long distances. Today, universities offer courses in all the fields, whether it's engineering, medicine, human resource, and at all levels, diploma, degree, master's, or PhD, through these e-learning programs. Even our own government has a university where people can learn online through these e-learning program platforms. And lastly is the learning management system, which seems to appear all the time. That this is a system within training and development where employees can learn new skills and knowledge through the programs that are stored in this system. And learning can be tracked over a period of time. And how do we track? By looking at the number of people who are accessing the system. 2, by looking at the completion rate, that is the number of people who have completed a course. 3, the number of programs that we have in the system. And lastly, the relevance of the programs. That the system can ask the learners whether the programs are relevant. And in that way, we are able to improve the learning management system. Today, again, there is a shift. Why is there a shift toward digital solutions in knowledge management? It is because of the changes that are taking place around us. I want to believe that all of us are aware of the concept of VUCA, VUCA, whereas V stands for volatile, U stands for uncertain, C stands for complexity, and A stands for ambiguity. That the environment in which we operate has become volatile, that is continuously changing, uncertain, that you cannot predict, complex, that there are so many connections between one or two variables, and last, it is ambiguous, that is not clear. Because of this nature, we need to embrace digital solutions or a shift from manual systems to digital systems in our knowledge management. So one of the shifts or changes that we have witnessed in the recent past is digitization of knowledge assets. That most organizations around the globe have changed or shifted their knowledge assets into digital assets. As I have indicated, digital assets are easy to access and retrieve, and they can easily be changed to adapt to changes in our environment. So one of the reasons why we need to embrace digital solutions is to be competitive, because other organizations have digitized their knowledge assets. So we can't digitize, then we remain manual, and the manual systems are very slow and therefore very difficult to make decisions. The second aspect is dynamic knowledge management systems. By dynamic, we mean continuously changing. And that is why we talk about VUCA, volatile, dynamic. It is in a continuous state of change. Our organizations are not static. They have changed their strategies, changed their systems, changed their structures, and also changed their products. So with these changes, we cannot keep pace if we use manual systems. So we can only keep pace if we adopt digital solutions. And again, knowledge itself is changing. That the knowledge we had yesterday is not the knowledge we have today. Why? Because there is a lot of knowledge that is flowing around us as individuals or as organizations. For example, through internet, there's a lot of knowledge that is flowing. So our knowledge yesterday was limited to our spaces. But today, knowledge is unlimited. And that is why globalization has made it possible for us to acquire new knowledge. So digital solutions have come into existence because of the dynamism in our knowledge management system due to globalization. So again, globalization has to do with the interconnectedness among people, places, and organizations through improvements in technology, communication, and transport. Speaking of technology, this is where digital solutions come in. That softwares are a part of this technology which has made knowledge management dynamic. So through softwares like AI, we are able to connect, access, and disseminate information on a global scale. The other reason why we need to shift into digital solutions is the aspect of cloud and mobility. Cloud is storage of knowledge outside our organization or information. AI is artificial intelligence, and the mobility has to do with movement. Allow me to talk about mobility in two ways. One, mobility of people, and two, mobility of knowledge resources. Starting with people mobility, that people move in and out of the organization. When they move in, they bring their knowledge resources such as skills, knowledge, experience, abilities, and expertise, which all of us as HR managers should be careful to harness and capture. People are moving in with their knowledge. We should be able to utilize this and capture this knowledge through mentorship or through meetings and discussions. And the people can also move outside, mobility, outside the organization. That when they move out, we lose their knowledge and skills. And again, we should be careful to capture this knowledge so that we don't lose. How do we capture this? Through exit interviews. Secondly, I've talked about mobility in terms of knowledge. Knowledge can move from one department to another, from one section to the next, or from one organization to the other. And how does this knowledge move? It is through the use of these digital solutions where knowledge is stored, for example, in document management systems, which could be stored in our cloud systems. That when a document moves from one department to the other, that is knowledge mobility. And this is good for us for two reasons. One, we are able to share knowledge with others, especially those who don't have. And two, we are able to receive new knowledge. How can we then promote this knowledge mobility where people receive and share knowledge? It's through the use of collaboration systems. Remember, I mentioned a little earlier on that collaboration systems like Microsoft Teams enable people to share or access knowledge and therefore facilitating mobility. And this is important for us as organizations because without sharing and accessing knowledge, it means that we become stagnant and therefore cannot compete in a VUCA environment, which is complex. The other need to shift is workforce expectations. Expectations are the set of demands that managers and the employees have on one another. From an expectancy theory, managers expect employees to do the following. One, attend work regularly. Two, perform to expected standards. And three, cooperate and be disciplined. On the other hand, employees expect several things from their organizations. One, involvement and participation in decision making. Two, training and development. And three, for most of us, is payment on time. These are mutual expectations which can be addressed through sharing of information, either at the time when an employee is joining the organization, that is through onboarding, or during the employment cycle, from the time they join to the time they exit. Speaking of onboarding, this is an opportunity when managers clarify the expectations of the employees. Expectations in terms of training, in terms of payment, and promotions. This requires that employees have access to knowledge resources in the organization. And onboarding is one of the ways in which they can access these knowledge resources. And what do managers do in order to clarify these expectations? One is to induct them into the organization. Induction and orientation are key processes that employees' expectations are clarified. Two, through digital tools such as document management systems, employees are able to access policies. They are also able to access reports and other manuals. So employee expectations are also changing. Employees expect or demand better things. One, for their own professional development, and two, to remain relevant in their professions. So some of the expectations that employees have today, which is demanding on the organization, is personalization of training and development. That some of us, for example, are specialists in HR, not generalists, specialists. Some of us are employee relations specialists. Others are training and development specialists. And therefore, when we are developing training programs, we tailor-make these programs according to the expectations of the employees. And that is why I said earlier on, personalization of learning has become critical in employee learning and development. So we have many expectations, and these expectations can only be met if we provide easy and fast access to knowledge which is current. And lastly, the shift to digital solutions has been necessitated by strategic value. By strategic value, we mean anything that brings value to an organization or makes an organization better. One of the values is new product development. 2, new systems. 3 is improved processes and systems. And through this strategic value, an organization is able to, 1, serve its customers better. 2, manage its employees well. And 3, compete successfully. And again, digital solutions helps us to create this value. For example, we have mentioned through document management system, through collaboration systems, we are able to innovate, and this innovation is part of the strategic value. What we all need to do is to simplify this system depending on the need so that we provide solutions in real time. So those are some of the reasons which have led to the shift into the use or adoption of digital solutions. In the interest of time, I can move to the business drivers of business solutions. That today as business organizations, we need to survive in the environment that I mentioned, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So as a business, we operate in a global environment where we don't need boundaries. Why? Because when we create boundaries, we restrict access to information from other organizations around the world. And again, through globalization, we are able to acquire, access, or use information from around the globe through improvements in technology. And one of the improvements in technology is the use of these digital solutions like cloud computing. That it doesn't matter where an organization is located, you can still access data or information anywhere in the world. And that is through technology. That has made our organizations borderless. Secondly, remote working, where employees can work virtually away from their offices. Many of our organizations today after COVID started adopting home working, where employees are provided with basic tools for them to work from home. For example, a computer which is installed with softwares. And these softwares enable people to work remotely. They can also access centralized knowledge reservoirs or repositories. For example, document management systems. The other one is compliance needs. That our environment, especially the legal environment, changes. The laws that we all have to adhere to can be stored or accessed through the use of these digital solutions. And we are able to identify changes in the legal environment through the use of these digital solutions. For example, the use of AI as a digital tool, we are able to identify changes in the legal environment. Unlike before, where organizations used to go to the government printers to access regulatory documents, and for our case as HR managers, we are talking about employment or labor laws. We used to go to the government printer to obtain a hard copy. But today, we can obtain these copies digitally by accessing the government printers and obtaining these documents with a lot of ease and conveniently at the lowest cost or at no cost at all. So through these digital solutions, we are able to comply because we are able to access regulatory documents which we should all comply with. The other driver in business is the speed of innovation. That today, the turnaround times of new ideas has shortened. How or why? Because of the use of these new technologies. That people in organizations are able to acquire new knowledge in real time and are able to develop new products. And in this way, the speed of innovation has become faster and therefore shortening the innovation cycle. And lastly is talent mobility. I have indicated in the previous slide about mobile. If you look at bullet 3, cloud and mobility, we are now talking about talent mobility. People are moving in and outside organizations. And for that reason, we need to capture, store, and share knowledge resources that people have. And we can do this through delegation, through coaching, through mentorship, and through exit interviews. So to achieve our objective of talent retention, we need to use digital tools to store and share these knowledge resources. I will now invite a few questions, if any, or comments before I move to the next slide. So the floor is ours. Anybody with a question or a comment? The floor is yours. Anybody with a question or a comment? Okay. Apparently, there is no question or comment. I want us to move to the next slide. What are the problems that are being solved by these digital solutions? There are many, and as I mentioned from the beginning, when I said digital solutions imply problems that have to be solved. One of the problems is information silos, where we are compartmentalizing knowledge, that people don't share their knowledge depending on the need, that knowledge within HR remains there. The same with finance or ICT. There's no sharing of knowledge. But through digital solutions, we are able to overcome these silos where knowledge is compartmentalized. Secondly, another problem is loss of institutional knowledge, that people lose knowledge, and this is what we call institutional memory. But through digital solutions, we are able to capture and preserve expertise by way of documenting this knowledge that people have. The other problem to be solved is inefficient onboarding, that when we are introducing new employees to the organization, they are able to access knowledge resources in real time, that we don't have to wait for them to come to the organization for them to access the knowledge resources. So we can train them or provide portals or chatbots where they can ask questions, as in frequently asked questions, and also share with them procedures in the form of SOPs, so that when they come to the organization, they are already aware about the organizational policies, organizational culture, and organizational processes and procedures. The other problem to be solved by digital solutions is duplication and redundancy of knowledge. That when you use manual systems, there is a possibility that we are going to duplicate. How? Because we cannot query the system to give us similar knowledge or duplicated knowledge. But when we use digital solutions, we can query that system and get rid of any redundant knowledge that we no longer need. And therefore, through digital solutions, we are able to reduce repeated tasks or documents that are not necessary. Second last is poor decision making. That previously, when we used to use these manual systems, we could make mistakes because we could not make reference to documents in real time. But today, through dashboards and other knowledge management solutions like document management system or LMS, we are able to make decisions. For example, LMS system, we are able to make decisions related to learning and development. One, we can identify relevant programs that our employees can be trained on. Two, we can improve the programs that are on offer. And three, we can compare our programs with other organizations by way of benchmarking. So poor decision making is no longer a problem because we have solutions. These digital solutions are able to facilitate decision making. And lastly, another problem is slow retrieval of information. I want to believe that our organizations are already AI powered, that we use artificial intelligence to seek or retrieve information. That at the click of a button, for example, using a document management system, we are able to get the right information that we are looking for. Unlike before, where we were using manual systems and we used to wade or swim through volumes of data to get the data that we are using or we need to use. Through AI, we are able to query the system and get the right information at the right time and at the right place. There are other solutions or problems that we need to address through these digital solutions, like lack of a learning culture, where organizations found it difficult to facilitate learning on a continuous basis. But through LMS, which is a digital solution, we provide platforms for people to learn continuously and share information or knowledge. I've talked about compliance risks, where we may not have up-to-date information about changes in our legal system, but through digital tools like AI, we are able to collect or conduct research on changes in labor laws. Limited help desk. Today, we don't have to have physical people in the office to respond to customer questions or queries. We have chatbots and assistants where people can ask questions on a 24-hour basis, so that there is no waiting time for people to check into their offices to provide answers to questions. The other one is capturing tacit knowledge. We have said tacit knowledge today is not a big problem because we can record. Like what we are doing today, this program is recorded. So we can use video recording, wikis, which are online video recordings, and storytelling, so that we don't lose this knowledge. Traditionally, we used to use tapes, but today we can use videos which capture both oral and visual recordings. The other problem is outdated paper-based processes that many organizations have now digitized their databases, except a few. And the reason could be the cost of new technology, especially small, medium enterprises, which might not afford new AI systems. But large organizations today have digitized their documents, and therefore it has become easier to locate knowledge resources at any time. And lastly is about the visibility of internal expertise. That how are we able to identify people with the right skills and knowledge that we need? We can do knowledge mapping by identifying people with the right knowledge. And this can be done by doing a knowledge audit. This knowledge audit requires that we either interview or observe people doing their work and identifying those people with these skills and knowledge. And in this way, we are able to identify people who have the knowledge that we need. And these are the people that we can put on our walls of fame so that everybody can see them because they have performed well over a given period of time. How do we choose the tools that we need to use? We have mentioned the solutions. So what is the basis for choosing the right solution? Number one is organizational need. That a good tool is one that satisfies the objectives and the strategies of the organization. For example, an LMS, learning management system, satisfies the need for training. A cloud computing system satisfies the need for safe and accessible data. And the AI tool satisfies the need for capturing and storing information. So the need is what is important here in terms of choosing the right tool. Does it satisfy an objective? Secondly, is the user interfaces. Is it friendly? We don't want a system that is very difficult to approach or use. We want systems that require minimum training so that we don't waste a lot of time and other resources to implement the system. How integrated they are with the other system, I mentioned this, that an element of the knowledge management solution is integration, that it is able to work with other systems that already exist. For example, human resource information system or ERP. If a system cannot be integrated with the existing ones, then it becomes a standalone system, which becomes a bit difficult to access or utilize. The other consideration is security of the system. Security in two ways. One, safety of information, and two, destruction of that information. That today there are people out there who are looking for an opportunity to corrupt our systems, which means that the system can no longer be usable. So we need to protect ourselves from such kind of threats. Hacking is very common, so we need to protect that data. And as we use new systems, which are digital solutions like cloud computing, we should be able to comply with the Data Protection Act. That as a requirement, data related to employees must be protected. That is personal data, must be protected. That does not mean that we should not protect organizational data, no. Sensitive information like organizational secrets must also be protected as we use these digital solutions. And lastly is scalability. That is the ability of these digital solutions to grow or expand with the needs of the organization. That if we need new knowledge, this system is able to capture that. If we want to change or delete certain knowledge which is irrelevant, this system should also be able to help us do that. What are the features of an effective digital solution? And again, very quickly, I'll mention them. Searchability, that we are able to obtain information very quickly and easily. It is searchable. For example, the search engines that we use in document management systems should enable people to look for information so that they are able to access data at their convenient time and place. Two, integration, we have said that it should be able to connect or be compatible with other existing systems like HRIS, CRM, that's Customer Relations Management, or ERP, Enterprise Resource Plan. A system that cannot integrate, as I have just mentioned, it means that it becomes a standalone, which inhibits accessibility. Another good feature is user-friendliness, that it's able to be used by people at the time they need this. Security, I've mentioned it, that we should protect our data through restricted access, encryption by using of symbols, and also ensuring that we use firewalls to protect data. And then mobility, that data is able to be accessed by people who have access authorities. And again, lastly, customization, that is personalization, that this knowledge is tailored to suit various departments, for example, HR. In HR, we use HR information systems. In finance, there are other systems that are used, like SAP F1, which is for finance people. And this helps to improve workflows and help to achieve organizational goals and strategies. So how do we implement these digital solutions? Usually when we are introducing a new system, implementation is usually the hardest part. So first things first, we need to identify the need for these digital solutions by way of identifying gaps. These are knowledge gaps where we may not have the right knowledge or the right amount of knowledge, or the knowledge does not exist. Secondly is the user needs. Users in various departments like finance, human resource, and ICT. Where there is a problem which cannot be solved in all those departments, then a digital solution is required. So the first thing that we need to do is to identify the need in all our departments and develop digital solutions that will help to solve those problems. Secondly is identifying the right digital solution. Like I said in the last slide, a good digital solution is one that is searchable, is secure, and friendly. So we select the solution based on scalability, friendliness, and customization of those platforms. We mentioned several platforms like intranets and cloud computing. So these ones should be friendly, interoperable. That means that they can be operated by different people in different departments, and customizable, that they can be used for specific needs in different departments. We also need to build capacity by way of training so that people can use these digital solutions. If we are going to use cloud computing, for example, we need to train people on cloud computing. If it's the use of AI as a digital solution, we need to use to train people rather, so that they can be aware of how to use AI. If it is human resource information systems that we are introducing, they should be trained. Another implementation aspect is development of governance and policy framework, where we provide guidelines on the roles, responsibilities, and the tasks of various people. That without these guidelines, then our knowledge reservoirs or resources become chaotic. So we need a system governed by policy. When we develop these digital tools, a policy guideline is very important to guide people on what can be accessed, how it can be accessed, by whom, where, and how, so that we don't have unauthorized access to these digital solutions as part of our security measure. Lastly, we need to monitor the utilization of these digital solutions on a continuous basis, monitoring. We track the use, analyze the engagement, and assess the impact of knowledge management. When we talk of tracking usage, we are looking at the number of people who are using it through developing metrics like the number of clicks that people have on a digital solution. Engagement is how often and what use people are making of these digital solutions. And the impact has to do with the outcomes and the effects of using these knowledge resources, where we are looking at improved customer service, innovation, and change management. So this is the basic process of implementing those digital solutions. We have mentioned many, and the first thing that we do, identify the need. I then select the most appropriate solution, then build capacity by way of training, develop a policy around that tool, and lastly, monitor progress to ensure that we are on track. Why do we need these digital solutions? We are about to finish. One is to improve accessibility to our knowledge resources, preferably real-time accessibility. For example, AI can enable instant access to knowledge resources that are stored in our repositories. So using mobile technologies like smartphones, we are able to access information, or cloud computing, improved accessibility so that there is no waiting time as compared to manual systems where we keep our files in box files, which becomes very difficult even within an organization, leave alone those people who are working remotely. Secondly is about collaboration, where people work in teams. We have talked about collaboration systems like Microsoft Teams, where people can have discussions in real time and can update knowledge through those discussions. So through these digital solutions, we are able to promote stronger teamwork. The other benefit is knowledge retention, that is preserving organizational memory over time by use of document management system, human resource information systems, or AI. So we can document everything that goes on in organizations through these digital solutions. The other one is cost efficiency, where we are reducing the cost of capturing, storage, sharing, and retrieving of knowledge resources cost. That having digital solutions like learning management systems, we are able to access learning materials very quickly, and that we don't have to spend a lot of time to go into libraries outside to get these knowledge resources. So knowledge digital solutions come in handy in the way of reducing the cost of managing our knowledge resources. Scalability, I said that our knowledge resources should be able to expand or grow with the needs of the organization. So it should be able to change over time. And that makes our system adaptable. To operate in a VUCA environment, we need to adapt our systems, make them flexible. So scalability enables knowledge management to be flexible. And lastly, the other benefit of digital solution is faster decision making, where we access accurate and relevant knowledge within a very short time. Traditionally, manual systems were very slow and sometimes difficult to access. And for that reason, decision making was very slow and sometimes inaccurate. But today, with the use of new technologies like AI, cloud computing, human resource information systems, we are able to access, compare, and also create new knowledge that will enable us to make faster decisions. What are the challenges that exist in the use of these digital solutions? One is poor content management. As I have indicated, some knowledge can be outdated because knowledge has a shelf life. Knowledge can be relevant today, but tomorrow it becomes obsolete. Secondly, duplication, where we are repeating knowledge which occupies space. And lastly is loss of quality knowledge, where people live in organizations with their good knowledge if we don't capture that. So we need to use these digital solutions in a way that is relevant, not duplicated, and does not lose knowledge. Another challenge is data security, where people are able to infiltrate our system, either to steal or corrupt our data that we have stored. These are cyber threats, which are in the form of hacking or viruses. And again, to overcome this challenge, we need to train our employees on cyber security. All employees must be aware of how to protect data, not just ICT people. The other challenge is low user engagement, that our systems may not allow people to access or retrieve knowledge as and when they need. This can be as a result of lack of motivation or understanding of the benefits. How can we motivate people in order to increase their engagement? Mainly is through incentivize or rewarding sharing of new or valuable knowledge. And the people can share knowledge resources through these digital solutions. So those who share more of these knowledge resources can be rewarded. On the part of understanding, we need to make this system simple depending on the users. So if it is ICT department, let the language used in that system be usable in that department. The same with HR and finance. For integration issues, this is where it is difficult for the digital solutions to connect with the existing platforms like ERPs. And again, this makes, as I have said, the digital solution to be a standalone, which becomes difficult, especially when it comes to sharing of knowledge because it's not centralized. Money is another challenge where there is no adequate budget to purchase these new solutions. For example, Microsoft 365, which is used for performance management, is not cheap. Organizations have to set aside big budgets for them to procure this system. So the cost of procurement, customizing, and maintenance could be higher for some organizations, and that makes it a challenge. For example, those of us in the bank who bank with various banks, we sometimes see or receive messages that the bank is conducting maintenance on their system, and they ask us to be patient as they work on the system. That maintenance means a downtime, which is a cost to the organization. Secondly, the people maintaining this, they could be consultant, ICT professionals, and this also becomes a cost. So again, organizations must set aside money for maintenance or customization. The other challenge is data migration. Moving data from what we have referred to manual to digital files is also a cost. Thanks to new technology, we are able to scan manual documents and convert them to digital solutions. But traditionally, it was very difficult to transform this. But again, there are certain documents which we cannot easily transfer into digital files because of technological limitations of some organizations. And lastly, lack of training, which limits the use of and sharing of knowledge resources using these digital solutions. There's the element of curating. This is the process of selecting, organizing, updating, contextualizing, and maintaining digital knowledge. That as HR managers, we are curators. We select knowledge. We organize knowledge. We update knowledge. We contextualize, meaning that we apply it within our specific departments and maintain these digital assets. For example, human resource information systems. This is what we do. We select, organize, update, and maintain these systems. And the purpose for curation is to ensure that our systems or these knowledge solutions remain relevant, accessible, and useful. As a curator, you are a knowledge management manager. We need to manage our content in a way that is easy and simple to access and retrieve. Secondly, the quality. We must ensure quality of the knowledge that we keep so that it's accurate, relevant, and not redundant. Redundant means that it's repeated all the time. The other one is life cycle management. Like I said, when we are implementing a knowledge or digital system, we identify the need, we select, we implement, and review. So we need to do this on a continuous basis. We decide when content should be updated, archived, or deleted. Updating requires that we monitor what is going on around us so that we bring on board new knowledge that is relevant. Archived is knowledge that is no longer used and therefore should be kept maybe for future use. Deleted is any knowledge that is completely unusable or completely irrelevant. So we delete that knowledge. And second last is enable users to find and access knowledge through the use of these digital knowledge solutions. And lastly is provision of collaboration platforms where people are easily able to share and access knowledge, like document management system, by using a platform like intranet. Cybersecurity, I've mentioned it, albeit in passing. We have said that we need to protect our knowledge assets from unauthorized access or damage. How do we do that? We limit access. 2, we encrypt the resources so that people cannot easily read them. Authentication, we're limiting access to people who need that. There are various levels of authentication that the higher you go, the higher the levels of authentication, so that we don't have unauthorized access. The other one is auditing and monitoring our knowledge usage to find out where there are gaps so that we flag them out. And in this way, we are able to ensure that our knowledge assets remain relevant and useful at all times. Lastly is backups, where we are able to store our knowledge, probably outside the organization, so that in case there is an attack, we have a recovery plan where we can easily access the lost data. And one of the best places to store this backup is cloud computing, like Google Drive. Awareness training is very important. We need to train our people so that they know the risks that exist when they are using these digital solutions, how they can safely share the knowledge resources like policies and standard operating procedures. Use of passwords is very important so that people don't access stations like computers unnecessarily. Compliance, this aligns with the GDPR, Global Data Protection, where we are talking about protecting individual and organizational data from unauthorized access. And lastly, vendors. Vendors are people who provide us with these solutions. Some of the digital solutions may not belong to us. For example, Microsoft Teams. We should ensure that these platforms are secure and that they are certified to be secure so that we ensure that they are compliant with the local and international data protection standards. How do we maximize the impact of digital solutions? One, provide training. Two, create guidelines in the form of policies so that we are all guided on how, when, and where to use this. Monitor usage on a continuous basis so that we identify deviations or identify irrelevant knowledge. The other one is encourage participation, where employees are encouraged to use these knowledge solutions on a regular basis, either by way of rewarding them or ensuring that people use them regularly by using those meetings like Google Meets. And lastly, regularly updating, which I've already mentioned, that if we want to achieve greater impact on the use of digital solutions, we need to update our knowledge resources because some of them may become outdated or irrelevant. As HR managers, we have a role to play. We must align these solutions to the overall organizational objectives. Two, we develop policy guidelines so that we know who uses what, when, and how. Talent development and training, we train people so that we don't lose this knowledge, and also ensure that people are able to access these digital solutions. Incentivizing knowledge so that we reward the people who use or share knowledge in a consistent manner. Change management, we have mentioned VUCA, that our environment is in a continuous state of change. And therefore, our role as HR managers is to ensure that we transition into better digital solutions. That if one solution becomes obsolete, we need to move to the next one and prepare people adequately. The other one is collaboration, which I've again mentioned, using those platforms like community practices where people are able to work together. And such a tool or a solution is like Microsoft Teams. We support tacit knowledge by way of coaching and mentoring. We can take advantage of the insights, skills, and knowledge that people have. And lastly is to measure the impact, that is to track engagement, obtain feedback on how well or poorly we are doing, and also update our systems on a continuous basis. Lastly, what is the future of these digital solutions? We are going to see more of AI usage as it is today. We are now moving towards the use of AI. Even when we are writing emails, we use AI. We are writing reports, we are using AI. So AI is going to take center stage in the usage of these digital solutions. Secondly is the use of augmented or virtual reality, where we are using systems where we make things look like real. Like virtual reality will make things look like real. For example, in a virtual reality, we have embedded virtual videos that people can watch, and they look as real as possible. You can use them using visors or computers, and they look like real. They are immersive. For example, you go to an ocean, you see animals in the ocean as if it is real, and yet you are wearing a virtual reality system. And that is where we are heading. That even in HR, we are going to use this, especially in training, where people use these virtual realities for purposes of acquiring new knowledge. They make it more visual than when reading. Text is a bit difficult to remember compared to visual images. And again, we are going to see more of cloud computing, where we are storing our knowledge reservoirs in cloud systems like Google Drive. Edge computing, where we are using customizing knowledge resources for particular groups of people. For example, a team like finance department can be using these knowledge solutions. Why? Because they need to achieve an age where they access resources related to their specific needs or fields. For gamification, this is making learning or acquisition of knowledge interesting and enjoyable. So we can motivate people by using games, even in knowledge sharing, where we use videos, where people are playing games so that we can learn more. The last one is the use of blockchain security, where especially in big data, we are using data analytics to ensure that we access large files or large sets of data, analyze this, but again, ensuring integrity within this system. So basically, that is it for digital solutions in knowledge management. And that brings us to the end of our program today. I now wish to invite all of us to ask any questions that you may have so that we can bring this program to a close. Anybody with a question? Or a comment? Okay. If there is no question or a comment, I wish to thank you very much for finding time to be with us. I look forward to seeing you again next week for another insightful program. Same time, same place. Have a good day, and may God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priska. Thank you.
Thank you very much and have a good day.
Have a good day, all of us.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. Thank you, Priska.